that tomorrow is 7 days since Ace Frehley came on this show and made global news with his threat, essentially, to Paul Stanley. And again, as I stated, that was not something I knew was coming. That was not something I had any knowledge of in advance, that Ace was going to take that position and essentially call Paul out on this show. Of course, unless you live under a rock and you weren't listening and you don't know, Ace was upset, understandably, that on the Howard Stern show, if you've heard that interview, and again, you can hear the interview I did with Ace on Wednesday and the initial interview with Kiss that started this on Howard Stern, also both are on the SiriusXM app. But in that interview with Howard, when Howard asked Gene and Paul why they didn't play with the band, the original guys, at their Hall of Fame induction, Paul made a comment that if they would have played with Ace and Peter, the band would have been called, or should have been called, Piss. Obviously a shot at their abilities and what they would have sounded like. Clearly, you can imagine that a comment like that is not going to resonate well with the person who's on the receiving end of it, especially on a show of the magnitude of Howard Stern. So Ace, again, when last week I was told that Ace wanted to come on the show and talk about the record he's working on and say hello to the fans and address if he was going to participate at all in the final Kiss shows. I did not know he was going to say what he said. So when I heard him say it, it's the first I was aware of it with you guys. And it made massive news for the last week all over the globe. And to the point, there are fans out there that have countdowns till tomorrow because they want to know what happened. They want to know if there was dialogue. They want to know if an apology was issued. They want to know if there was conversations. So we have, or I should say, in this case, Paul has another 24 hours, essentially, if he wants to make things right with Ace. Ace called me last night. I was at dinner, could not answer. But we spoke minutes ago, just before I came on the air. And I said, look, I don't want to pressure you either way, but obviously you said what you said, and tomorrow is 7 days. Has there been any dialogue? Has there been any contact from the Kiss camp since you were on last Wednesday? And unbeknownst to me, Ace just told me minutes ago, there has been. And he has had dialogue with management and I guess some dialogue with Paul. What that dialogue is, what Ace wants to say tomorrow, I don't know. But I can tell you that he is planning to come on again tomorrow and update us on the situation, if an apology was issued, and where he's at now. So there will be a part 2 of this. I can tell you honestly and sincerely, as a fan of Kiss, I truly hope that Ace is going to come on here tomorrow and say that him and Paul cleared the air and that everything's cool and they chatted and on to the next, onward and upward. I can tell you sincerely that I truly hope that is the case. Ace didn't want to get into too much of how he's feeling with me, and I had to get on the air about what dialogue there has been. And he also told me that obviously, tomorrow is still, about 24 hours away from when he will come on this show. So in the next 24 hours, there might be additional dialogue which changes his position and what he's going to say tomorrow. I don't know. We will find out, just like I found out last Wednesday together with you that he was going to take that position. I will find out with you tomorrow, live on the air, what has happened in the last 7 days and his feelings tomorrow. So, again, sincerely, as I have told you, I do not encourage this stuff. I did not know this stuff was coming. I am not a guy that actively goes out there looking to drum up clickbait, but a byproduct of what I do and the audience that I have, and having done this for 40 years now, these things happen. It's a strange thing. I mean, even though I have nothing to do with it beyond having a platform, it's just a strange thing to see people that are your heroes. I mean, both of these guys are whether Paul likes me or hates me or whatever, that's irrelevant. Bottom line is, as I've said consistently, I'll always be a fan. These guys were heroes of mine. So it's a strange thing when stuff like this happens. And of course, Ace, I have a totally different history with, because we've known each other and been friends for over 35 years, and I worked with him and all that. We all know that story. But again, I don't let that cloud things. I'm just giving a platform. And as I have said repeatedly on this show and social media, my platform is open to all past, present members of KISS, pretty much any band, any major band, of course, that people want to hear from. So I can only take the stories from the people who will come on here and talk about them. And, as you know, Paul does not and will not and has not come on this show. So we can only hear from Ace, and that's all I can present. Should that change, doors wide open. But we will hear from Ace tomorrow. And what he decides to say is going to be contingent on, I got a little sense of, where things are at just now before I had to hang up with him to come on the air. But as he said, there's still a day here. So we will learn tomorrow what he wants to say. I tell you truthfully, on my children, I don't know. But we'll find out together tomorrow, because Ace Frehley, one way or the other, is planning to come on this show. Even if, and hopefully it's positive. And like I said, it's like, hey, we cleared the air, we're cool, we talked, and he apologized and whatever. And I sincerely hope that's the case. But it may not be. But we'll hear it from Ace himself live tomorrow. So round 2 with the one and only Ace Frehley on this show exclusively tomorrow. So I was going to have Joe Lynn Turner on tomorrow. I just sent him a note. I'm going to push him into next week because I want to make sure Ace has as much time as he wants to say whatever he's going to say. And, he's still very passionate about wanting to talk about his record and everything that he's working on. But I told him, I said, you can do that when the record's about to come out. But he still wanted to give an update on his record, which, of course, I said, fine. But obviously, this has been a major story. And look, you can't take a shot like that at somebody and not expect them to be, kind of come back at it again, especially on a platform like Howard. So this is Ace responding, and we heard what he said last week, and we'll see what he says tomorrow. And the countdown is very much on exactly about 24 hours for maybe cooler heads to prevail, or maybe they've prevailed already, or maybe something develops tonight. Anything is possible. We will adjust and deal with it as we go. So I wanted to address that and let you guys know, and we'll see where things go tomorrow. But Ace will be on once again live tomorrow to update and give us whatever he wants to tell us. All right. So that is obviously major. We'll deal with that tomorrow.